This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. What's going on with this whole J.O.K thing? If you've been on the internet and you've searched J.O.K recently, you have had it flashed across your screen that J.O.K's career might be over. This is a guy who's still on like non-season ending IR, but people are telling or saying that his career might be in jeopardy. So like, what is actually going on? In this video, I want to talk about that, some other things that's going on with the Cleveland Browns, but let's start with the J.O.K. information, or what's going on with J.O.K. This is one of those stories that I don't know what to make of, because nobody who is credible is saying things in a way that I find to be credible. And a lot of this is really flimsy the deeper and deeper you dive into it, right? Here's what we definitively know about the J.O.K situation, right? These are the facts of the matter. He got the injury against, I believe, the Chargers, right? No, he got the injury. After the injury, it was reported that he was walking around and he was immediately pulled out of the Chargers game. He was announced out of the Chargers game pretty much immediately. And then it was announced that he was on IR, but not season-ending IR. When Kevin Stefanski was asked about this, he said J.O.K's doing fine. He's walking around the building. We don't want to play him this week. We want to give him some time to recover. That is where most of us were until like Monday morning, when you popped open your phone and you saw this quote from a Mary Kay article. Let me pull it up real quick. But the Browns haven't said much. It's from a Mary Kay article. But the Browns haven't said much since the J.O.K injury, who was placed on injury reserve for a minimum of 4 games and is likely lost for the season. It's kind of interjecting your own opinion in there. Cabot wrote for Cleveland.com. As it stands, no one has said if he'll be able to resume his NFL career, and at the very least, he'll have to go an extensive round of scans before he gets back on the field. Now, you hear that quote, and that quote is, quite frankly, terrifying. I don't know how seriously to take this blurb from Mary Kay. Not because I don't think Mary Kay is a credible writer or a good reporter, right? When Mary Kay reports something, right, it's usually true. Now, her opinion articles, and when she gets her opinion wrapped up in there, it gets a little dicey. But when Mary Kay is reporting something, if she is trying to break news, when it's important to note, she's not breaking anything in this article. She's kind of just giving her opinion. When she's doing the breaking news stuff, she's pretty good. She's pretty reliable. But the opinion stuff is just her opinion. It's reliable as anybody's opinion. Right? So that's the distinction I make with Mary Kay all the time when I read stuff from her, because I think it's very easy to get lost in the sauce if you're so anti-Mary Kay that you're not going to listen to anything she reports. But it's also easy to get lost in the sauce if you're like always going to take what Mary Kay says 100% seriously. It's easy to work yourself up, because sometimes what Mary Kay likes to do, because she's a journalist, is create a story. Right? She wants to create some kind of comeback story for J.O.K. This is how she can plant the seeds. This also came off the heels of Jordan Hicks saying this.
Because, you know, we play this game because we love it. We sacrifice our bodies for it, right? And we understand the risks that are involved in it. But at the end of the day, you know, you see something like that and it's real life. You know, I look at my life and I've got 3 kids and a wife at home, and it's like, what if I were to come home like that? You know, and so, you know, he's got family that he loves, you know, people that care about him more than just what he can do on the field, right? And so it puts things in perspective, and you hope and you pray that he's going to make a miraculous recovery, right? And so I don't know, it's just hard, it's tough, but you rally around him and you rally around each other.
The interesting thing about that video is you can kind of take away from that whatever you want to take away. Like when I watched that video for the first time, I thought that it was interesting that before he said miraculously, he kind of paused, and then after he said it, he kind of paused, like he didn't mean to say it. But I'm not a body language expert, and I don't even know if that stuff's like actually like accurate. So that's my whole point, is taking the fact that he said miraculous and jumping to, oh my God, his career might be over, is kind of a wild leap that you got to substantiate a little bit more than just that Jordan Hicks said that it was a miraculous recovery. He might just be dramatic, right? Like we all know people who just like add extra words, or maybe he likes using big words. Like there's any number of reasons he said miraculous. It might not indicate what you think it is. And acting as if that's the only piece of information that you have, is kind of crazy. Because you got to ask the question, right? Like if J.O.K's career was potentially at risk, why would Jordan Hicks be the only person who knows? Like, I know they play linebacker together and they tight, but they've only known each other the last 8 months. Like, I just don't think he'd be the first one to know. So if Jordan Hicks knows, that probably means the whole linebacker room knows and the whole defense knows. So everybody knows J.O.K's career might be over. Ain't nobody saying nothing but Jordan Hicks. Like, that just doesn't sound like a credible theory to me. Like, if a bunch of people thought that J.O.K's career might be over on the Browns defense, I feel like there would be a lot more smoke than Jordan Hicks saying miraculously one time in a not a post game, but in a press conference in the middle of the week. Like, they don't track. It really don't track. I think the explanation here is far more simple than like there's a conspiracy and Mary Kay's trying to draw up an article for the future, even though that could be something that she's doing. I think the explanation is simple. Everybody is speculating. Jordan Hicks is speculating. He don't know. And Mary Kay is speculating. She don't know, because don't nobody know except for the people who do know, which is J.O.K, his doctors, and the Cleveland Browns. And all of those people are sworn by oath to not divulge that information. So nobody knows, everybody's speculating. But if you look at what we do know, the concrete facts of the case, J.O.K got injured. Kevin Stefanski said he was up walking around. J.O.K said he was up walking around. J.O.K did not get put on season-ending IR. He got put on regular IR, which means he can come back after 4 weeks. None of that indicates that his career might be over. This reminds me of like this panic that gets put out, and like Mary Kay does this with Denzel Ward. Every time Denzel Ward has an injury, we get the "is Denzel Ward going to be forced to retire from football" articles from not just Mary Kay, but a bunch of people in the local media. And this feels similar, right? This feels like something where people are kind of raising the stakes here a little bit higher than what we actually have evidence for. Because again, if the Browns thought his career was in jeopardy, why is he not on season-ending IR? Why are we withholding a potential roster spot and using up a non-season-ending IR spot on J.O.K if you don't know if he's going to play football again, when you put people on season-ending IR, when you don't think they're going to play football that year, right? This is like contemplating if his career is over. I think this is a bit hyperbolic from Mary Kay, if I'm being quite honest with you. I don't think that this is an accurate depiction of what's actually going on with J.O.K. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion here. But I'm breaking down why I think that, and I'm also doing this and saying this after I've looked into it a little bit more than I think most people, or at least most people who have covered this, have looked into it, because I've seen very little quotes about what Kevin said about the injury. I've seen very little follow-up. And here's also the red herring to me on this one, the thing that makes it weird that Mary Kay even put this in her article. She was at the press conference yesterday for Kevin Stefanski. You would think if she's not sure if J.O.K. is going to play again, that's a question she asks the coach, right? Like you say, hey, Kevin, is J.O.K. on track to play again? It seems like there's not, a clear answer on that. Can you provide a clear answer on if the Browns feel like J.O.K. can play again? Get him on the record to say, yeah, that might be the case, or give a non-answer. But why didn't you ask that question? What's going on here? All right, Brian Windhurst. And look, I'm not saying Mary Kay is like straight up lying to create a narrative here. I think what's happening is the basic incentive structures working as intended, right? Which is Mary Kay is incentivized to think or speculate the most dramatic outcome of this J.O.K. injury, right? Because she is a writer at the heart, right? She breaks news, but she loves to write. She loves stories. So she's trying to craft a story potentially for J.O.K. coming back. And the more J.O.K. it seems like he has to overcome, the more miraculous a story it would be. So she's naturally inclined to go when she speculates and think, oh, yeah, it might be career ending. Jordan Hicks said miraculous. And then because she kind of wants it to be a dramatic story in her mind, maybe subconsciously, she doesn't check to see if like Jordan Hicks saying that is actually like smoke for anything else. So she throws it in an article thinking nothing of it. And it blows up into this huge thing because everybody reads that article and thinks Mary Kay is reporting something with sources that she's saying, hey, J.O.K. might not play again. Like she's trying to ring the alarm. But she's not reporting something. She's just speculating. And there's reason to think her speculation might be off here because of how she frames the speculation to begin with, and the fact that she did not think enough of her speculation of this situation to actually get a quote from Kevin Stefanski about it for the next article. Because again, he had a press availability. I listened to the whole thing. It was like 6 minutes. He ain't get a single question about J.O.K. Which again, if the whole linebacker room knew that J.O.K., his career could be over. If the Browns knew, the defense, the players on the team, because Jordan Hicks said miraculous, right? If everybody on the team knew that J.O.K.'s career might be over, there would be more than one article being written about this. There would be questions being asked by the media about this with Kevin, because it wouldn't just be Mary Kay who would have a source in on this. Everybody in the media would have a source in on this that's telling you, hey, J.O.K. might not play again, right? But that's not the case. It's only Mary Kay because she was just speculating this. I don't think J.O.K. is at risk for his career ending. I think the conversation is, will he play again this season, or will he just miss the whole season entirely? I think people ran with what Jordan Hicks said in kind of a throwaway comment and ran with what Mary Kay put in this article, and now they're putting those two pretty loose pieces of evidence together to compile a narrative that J.O.K. might never play football again. It seems flimsy to me. Again, I'm just going to let you know it's my opinion. I'm not the end-all be-all or the authority on this. I'm not in J.O.K.'s hospital or his doctor. I'm not in the Browns medical facilities. I don't know what they're saying internally. It might be that Mary Kay has a source in Browns medical and she knows what's going on. So I don't know where I'm going to put this in the video. So if it feels like I'm jumping in randomly, I am, because I was editing this video and I thought about it. You know what makes this feel even more unlikely to me, that it's more than just Mary Kay purely speculating on the J.O.K. injury based on like the fact that he got carted out and Jordan Hicks said miraculous recovery, right? It's, to me, I forgot, but it's obvious. Patient doctor privilege. Like, the doctors cannot just be telling Mary Kay what's going on with J.O.K. And I would find it highly unlikely that a doctor would risk basically losing their license, not basically, absolutely losing their license to allow Mary Kay to speculate on an injury. And it would make even less sense if J.O.K. was like dropping this information to Mary Kay. And obviously that same thing would extend to his employer, right? There are some serious legal repercussions if anybody in the Cleveland Browns divulges any medical information that is not meant to be passed. Like, this stuff does not leak in the NFL for obvious reasons, and like that is one of them. He had a neck injury. I think that means that doctors are going to be very, very overly precautious, kind of the same way that this whole mess happens with Denzel Ward. Because it's a head injury, no doctor is going to be super definitive about a head injury, because you never know with a head injury, right? So when Mary Kay's poking around, she's probably getting a lot of non-answers, right? Because it's a head injury, which can lead her to speculate. I think the same exact thing is having an effect on this J.O.K. story. You're getting non-answers. It's a head and neck injury. They're not going to give you definitive answers. No doctor, even if they think you could play football again this year, is going to say to the media, oh yeah, he's going to be back 100%, because that's not how doctors think about this whole thing. From my understanding of head and neck injuries, they tend to always kind of overplay how bad it could be, because you have to do that in order to treat the problem or look out for more serious problems that could arise, because again, the head and neck is such a critical part of the body. Also, like, we just got to admit, like, beat reporters and like just writers in general for football love to like speculate that a football player will never play football again. We did this with Nick Chubb. We do this almost like every 3 months with Denzel Ward, and now we're doing it with J.O.K. So like, they hit this button a lot, man, and it's usually when somebody's career might be over, right? Like Ryan Shazier, there was no doubt that his career was over. Even somebody like Damar Hamlin, who we thought his career was over, he came back and played. Like, that's how crazy the desire is to play football. And J.O.K.'s injury is not as bad as Ryan Shazier's or Damar Hamlin's. I just don't see a reason out of just other than pure paranoia to feel like that's the case. Again, I could be wrong. I'm just speculating too. I want to make that clear. But I'm also kind of breaking down why it is that I don't think that this is true, with more than just my vibes tell me that's not the case. And I think the people telling you his career might be over are kind of just going off straight up vibes in speculation. So yeah, I think this is a little bit much. And if I'm wrong about it, I'll come on here and admit it. I've admitted when I've been wrong here, but I don't know about that one. That one feels a little bit here. And I looked into it, because Mary Kay writing in the article is not nothing, right? This isn't like this isn't like some random blog posting about it, right? Or some random aggregate Twitter account posting about it. This is Mary Kay. She put it in an article on Cleveland.com. People are going to take this seriously, and rightfully so. So that's my thoughts after like taking that quote seriously, looking into the quote and kind of putting some pieces together. At the end of the day, the facts of the situation with J.O.K. is this. He tweeted that he was okay in walking. Kevin Stefanski confirmed that he was not put on season-ending IR. Those 3 things put together do not make me think that his career is in jeopardy. Now, Jordan Hicks saying a miraculous return, it might just been something that he said because he was just talking to the media and he just used the word miraculous. It's very easy to just kind of go too far with a piece of information like that, right? Not getting a confirmation from anybody if he'll resume his career because he has to take all these scans. It seems pretty normal. I mean, we do this every year with with Denzel Ward. Whenever he has a concussion, every year we're like, oh, he's gonna retire. This is gonna be the one that gets him. And then like he comes back in like a week. Like last time he did this, we did the whole is Denzel Ward's career cooked thing, and then he literally played the week after. So that's where I'm at. That's the read I get. We'll see if I'm right or wrong on this, but I don't know. The more I dig into it, the less I feel like this is actually like a good report and indicative of where J.O.K. is at in his recovery. I think this is Mary Kay, probably planting the seeds for like a miraculous return article for J.O.K. when he comes back in like next season or maybe at the end of this year. But I don't think this is like Mary Kay actually thinking that he might never play football again, because I think if she actually felt like that was the case, she would have used the press conference to get Kevin on the record on that. Right? That's what my instincts tell me, is that she would have tried to get Kevin on the record on that. And she didn't. She didn't ask a question about J.O.K. in this last press conference. The last time J.O.K. was asked about was when he had the injury, and that's when Kevin came out with the quote where he said that he was moving around. So hopefully I'm right about this. I really hope I'm not wrong about this, because if J.O.K.'s career is in jeopardy, that's a hard blow for this team, because he's such a good player and such a cultural leader for the Cleveland Browns. And you miss him when he's not out there. You certainly miss him. I mean, he was missed last week.